All right, everyone, now it's time to talk about David Dorn, rest in peace, former cop, 77 years old, who was killed by Antifa rioters, actually. He was apparently left to die on the sidewalk out in front of a store. I guess the idea is he retired as a cop, but he went into security because, once you've been doing something all your life, you have a tendency to want to keep doing it. When you're 77, you're not exactly necessarily able to run after someone who's trying to steal stereos or something, so private security work would generally be a good fit. Anyway, apparently the dude's family doesn't really want any violence in his name or something, which is, commendable. It sounds like he was an upstanding dude. Man, he's got like 10 grandkids and stuff, so yeah, thanks, far leftists. But anyway, I just wanted to ask leftists a rhetorical question. It's rhetorical because I already know how they would answer, and that's, did his life matter? Because he was black. That's interesting. I thought that black lives mattered, but I don't hear many people talking about David Dorn except in his municipality. CNN has a brief article, link in the description, archived of course. They covered on their page too briefly before bumping it for more coverage of the riots, pretending that they're just peaceful protests. They're love fests. Yeah, they're love fests. A couple of people get roughed up and carried out of a venue at a Trump speech. That's an unruly mob of evil, violent bigots. Half the city burns down. It's a love fest. I've noticed the differential in coverage. Fox had a thing earlier. They said that out of 700 minutes of total network coverage, only like 4 minutes were dedicated to the topic of the riots. Everything else just covered the protests that were adjacent to them. Not sure I believe it because it's coming from Fox. But yeah, I can believe the general idea. But yeah, I wanted to ask these left-wing groups whether David Dorn's life matters. And I'll tell you their answers. BLM would say yes, with the caveat that they would say, but, that doesn't speak for all of us, these are peaceful protests and stuff, and they'll deflect. They'll be disingenuous. Antifas actually would be more honest if they actually answered this, which is they would say, no, David Dorn's life doesn't matter because he was a cop. They would say, no, he was a pawn, he's a bootlicker, it's good that he's dead. If they were being honest. Again, some of them are, some of them aren't. These people literally are like hashtag dead cops and stuff like that, and, listening to their Black Flag lyrics. Yeah, I would say probably they wouldn't care that David Dorn was dead. Some of them probably celebrate it, at least satirically online. I think that it's rather regrettable. I think that if you got two living people, they both, they're mentally aware, they're human, they're sovereign entities. I would say that killing one and killing the other, except for certain situational things, should be considered equivalent. Now, this dude didn't go out and commit a crime or harm anyone. He was just killed doing security work. Much like, George Floyd, he wasn't committing a violent act at the time. He was already subdued, and then he dies, partially because of apparently a heart defect due to drug use or something like that. It's not entirely clear. Now they're saying there was no neck trauma. But I mean, come on, when the dude's already, his heart has stopped and he keep kneeling on his fucking neck for several minutes, that's a wrongful death regardless. But yeah, David Dorn's life, it doesn't seem to matter as much as George Floyd's. I wonder why. Could it be that there's a political reason behind this? Because the only top-level politician even really addressing it seems to be Trump, the Democrats largely ignoring it. I don't think that Pelosi said anything about David Dorn. That's the thing. Because it's not politically convenient for the rioters and for their backers in the Democratic Party and their communist buddies and antagonists, they just won't talk about it. They'll pretend that it never even happened. And Dorn's not the only one, dude. There have been multiple people killed by the rioters already. And plenty of injuries. In some cases, an injury could permanently cripple a person. A person's like in Secret Service and they get their hand blown off or something. Are they still going to be able to do that job, or are they going on unemployment or something, or a government pension, I suppose? If they're lucky, they probably actually can make a living after they get things cut. Unlike the 30 million Americans fucked by the far left lockdowns, I would think that it's rather hypocritical, because I don't see any of these people mourning his death. I don't see any of these people admonishing the rioters to calm down and, maybe you should stick to just basic property damage and not blow people's heads off in the middle of the street. I think, what is the death toll, actually, from the riots? Again, I'm not talking about the protests. A bunch of people want to stand around pretending they have white privilege and then do a voodoo chant to get rid of it. That's, it's cringy, but it's peaceful protesting. Let them look like jackasses. It's perfectly legal. Burning cars and trash cans and rolling flaming tires into buildings and looting them is, of course, not legal. By the way, it was funny. I saw today on Additional Hypocrisy. It was actually, there was the Raleigh Police Department back in April posted that protesting wasn't an essential activity because there were lockdowns going on. It's funny because all these police forces now seem to think that it is an essential activity. Oh yeah, now it's okay. It's social distancing is over. The lockdowns, I guess, have finally ended. So yeah, maybe some BLM person can answer that for me. Does David Dorn's life matter? Or his 10 grandkids having to cry at his funeral? Does that matter? They're taking out the trash, of course. It's a construction zone in this neighborhood, so it can be a little bit noisy. And now the cat's getting all wiggly because she's got an itchy ear and won't let me itch it. It's a sad state of affairs. They've actually been really harassing me today. They've been going after the plants. Woke me up several times last night. They're acting riotous. They're acting unlawfully. I think we need a crackdown, and we need some cat police. That's about all. Peace out.